Hello class, welcome once again to our science lesson. Yes, previously we learned about some sources of energy. Yes, so today we'll be dwelling more on heat energy. I hope you understood our last lesson. So so please, those of you who have not done the exercise yet should do try your possible best to complete the exercise and send it to us. So today we'll be looking at heat. We'll be looking at heat, and our main focus is going to be, that is the learning outcome. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to know heat as a form of energy, that you should be able to know that heat is a form of energy, and also identify some of the sources of heat. So basically at the end of the lesson, this is what you should understand. That is the learning outcome. This is what you should understand at the end of the lesson. So let's start. So heat. We have all been hearing the name heat. Well, yes, so when I ask the class, I know you will tell me it is how hot a body is, isn't it? Yeah, so basically that is heat. So we say that heat is a form of energy transferred from one point to another due to the degree of hotness between two substances. So before I will be able to tell that this object is hot, then the myself personally should be a little bit cooler than the hot object to be able to identify whether it is hot or cold. Do you get these two scenarios? So for instance, if I'm boiling water to bath and I want to know whether the water is okay for my bathing or for me to use to prepare my breakfast, I'll either touch it or basically I will look at the water vapor coming out of the kettle. Is that clear? Yeah, so basically you can use two forms. So touching it means that if the water is still cold, then meaning your body temperature is more than the water. Do you get it? But if you touch it and it is hot, then meaning your body temperature is colder and is cool as compared to the temperature of the water. Do you get it? So before one can say he or she is feeling or there is heat, then his body temperature is measured against the substance. Do you get it? So basically that is what we are going to talk about. So that is basically about heat. Now heat comes in different forms, or we derive heat from different sources. Do you get it? We derive heat from different sources. Yesterday in our lesson, or in our last lesson to the introduction of sources and forms of energy, we looked at energy, right? And we looked at some sources of energy, isn't it? We looked at some sources of energy. So likewise, we are going to look at the sources of heat energy. So specifically, we are going to look at the sources of heat energy. So heat is basically the degree of hotness, or how hot a body is. Do you get it? How hot a body is termed as heat. Now there are sources. When we say sources, we say where we get heat, or where heat can be obtained. One, yes, I know you can. So let's write sources of heat energy. Sources of heat energy. Yes, so one, I know you would name one, the sun. The sun is the primary source of heat. The sun is the primary source of heat. Why is it the primary source of heat? Can anyone guess why it is the primary source of heat? There is a comment section. You can quickly type it and send it to us. So basically, the sun is referred to as the primary source of heat because every other source of heat has to depend on the sun. Do you get it? Every other source of heat has to depend on the sun. That is why we say the sun is the primary source of heat. When we go further, you understand that the sun is a body. Are you getting me? It's a natural body, meaning it is already in existence before we were created. So the sun is already in existence. Also, it's a body that emits heat, or that emits light as well. Is that clear? So the sun is a source of heat. What other source of heat can we mention? Yes, we also have heat from burning wood. So heat from burning wood, or you say firewood. That is why it is used to prepare food in our various homes. Also, we have heat from electricity. Heat from electricity, right? We also have rubbing. If you rub your palms against each other, rubbing rubbing the palm against each other. So rubbing the palms against each other. For that one, let's demonstrate it. Let's do it together. Going to rub the palm against each other. Now first, I'm going to do an activity with you. But first of all, I want you to use your palms, your two hands, and touch your jaws. How do you feel? Record how you feel. Is it hot or is cold? So record how you feel. Now afterwards, let's rub the palms together. Yes, slowly. Let's increase the pace. Yes, let's increase it. Now let's use our palms to touch our cheeks. Wow, how does it feel? I know you have the answer right now, isn't it? So it feels hot. So when objects are rubbed against each other, then a form of heat is what? Produced. You get it? So basically that is another source of what? Heat energy. Now, we said the sun is a source of heat energy, burning wood is a source, electricity. One example is before you can tell whether the electricity provides heat, please turn off your light or just leave your bulb and have a feel of it, touch it. How do you feel? Is it hot or cold? Now turn on the light for some time, let's say a maximum of 10 minutes. Then afterwards switch it off and touch it. You will feel what? A certain kind of what? Heat. So basically electricity is also what? A source of heat. So these are some sources of heat, right? And we'll be talking about more of them. In fact, we will dwell into more of them. But I want you to take the others to brainstorm on it. Apart from this, which other sources of heat do we have? So you state them for me in the comment section in our portal. Now let's look at the everyday uses of heat energy. The everyday uses of heat energy. Now that we've understood that these are the sources of heat, let's now look at the uses of what? Heat energy. The uses of heat what? Energy. What are some of the uses of heat? Yes, let's brainstorm. What are some of the uses of heat? Before you dress nicely to school, your parents iron your clothes, isn't it? And what makes your clothes, look very clean? Yes, okay, someone to tell me. It's heat, right? So the ironing our clothes is the application of what? Heat. Heat is used in what? Making us appear decent and clean, isn't it? Before you come to school, you iron your clothes. Now we also have what? So we say ironing of what? Clothes. Yes, another one we can talk about is what? Cooking. So heat can also be used to what? Cook, isn't it? We can use what? Heat to cook. Our dishes are cooked, right? Let's look at another one. There's a third one. Heating water. I know a lot of you would not like to bath cold water, especially when we are in the Hamatan. Yes, you don't like to bath cold water. So heating what? Water. Not only to bath, but also to take our breakfast, beverages. Yes. Let's take another one. Drying food crops. Drying food what? Crops. So after the farmer returns home with their crops or with the crop produce, they are dried. Are you getting me? And what is used to dry the food crop? Is it not the sun? So the sun serves as a what? A dryer or a drying agent for the crops. Are you getting me? Because most of the crops, before we are able to use them, they have to be dry. We have to dry them just to get rid of the excess water in the crops. Is that clear? So basically, these are some of the uses of heat energy, and in your book we have some lessons for you, and even we have pictures depicting the uses of heat energy. So please go onto the portal, check the notes, read carefully. You can read it as many times as possible before you attempt the questions. So I will join you again sometime, so please kindly do your exercises and get back to us. If you have any questions, you can send it into our comment section. So So we'll be expecting to hear from you. Bye for now.